You're watching TVC News at 10. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. It's a three-tier endorsement for President Bola Tinubu at the All Progressives Congress National Summit in Abuja. In a significant show of unity, members of the National Assembly, 22 APC governors, and prominent leaders of the All Progressives Congress have officially endorsed President Bola Tinubu as the party's sole candidate for the 2027 presidential election. The event reviewed the two-year administration of the president and the critical sectors of the economy. Senior reporter Habida Lawal has more.
The event began with a chant of enthusiastic supporters and party leaders who lauded President Tinubu's leadership and vision for Nigeria. Governors, leaders of the National Assembly and National Working Committee members emphasized that under President Tinubu's administration, the country has witnessed remarkable growth in infrastructure and economic development.
I hereby affirm the various endorsements and declare President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the sole presidential candidate of APC.
Mr. President, you are lucky to have all the political caterpillars in Nigeria present here today. So I congratulate all of you.
The President has provided both policy direction and political backing. It is our duty to translate these at the subnational level into tangible results.
In his response, President Tinubu described the endorsement as a profound honor and a testament to the confidence placed in his administration by the party and its representatives.
To me, I owe you a whole world of gratitude. The endorsement today, the carry-go inspiration, I know road.
As President Tinubu prepares for a robust campaign in the upcoming month, the focus now shifts to policy proposals and strategies that will resonate with the Nigerian electorate. The endorsement signifies an ambitious plan to not only defend the presidency but also to enhance the party's legacy as they approach the next electoral cycle. As the 2027 elections loom on the horizon, all eyes will be on President Bola Tinubu and the APC as they rally support across Nigeria in a bid for continuity in leadership. Habida Lawal, TVC News, Abuja.
Very interesting development within the APC. Let's bring in Publicity Secretary of the party in Rivers State, who joins me on the news tonight, Chibuke Ikenga. Mr. Ikenga, thanks for joining us on TVC News at 10. The endorsement by the APC leadership is a bold move just 2 years into the president's first term. What specific achievements in governance and party leadership do you believe have earned him this early endorsement?
Thank you very much for having me. The endorsement was expected. It recalled that the president took over a depressed economy, took over from a government that had too many challenges, particularly they didn't have funds to run the government. And the security challenges were very daunting. So it will also, it's also important for us to note that the president took some of these challenges head on. Removal of fuel subsidy, which had increased revenue substantially, the issue of our exchange rates versus the dollar naira exchange rate, which the president has stabilized. You also look at on the side of the security here, the president is doing his utmost best possible. And they talk about infrastructural development. If you watch today, they reeled out all those stats. And particularly, a special mention was made for the FCT, wherein the FCT minister had performed wonderfully to the credit of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's led government of APC. So these are some of the areas. And then we also talked about the autonomy of the local governments. It was also reeled out and increased revenue. And then the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu also is managing the tax system properly and then looking for further reasons to devolve powers to the constituent states.
The anathema, though, Mr. Ikenga, is that the FCT minister you mentioned is not a member of your party. But some critics argue that such early endorsements undermine internal party democracy and discourage other potential contenders. How does your party respond to concerns about fair competition and inclusivity ahead of 2027?
Is it out of place for people to sit down and agree that the leader they have is good enough to run? That does not preclude others from contesting. Anybody who wants to run against him can come and run against him. But the critical stakeholders and leaders of the party are very impressed with his performance, and they had asked him to go ahead and recontest and that they will back him. That does not stop any other person from coming to challenge them. And let's see how the person or persons who want to challenge, let's look at their watches and see what they will bring to the table. What other successes they will try to mount. But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has concrete facts to present to Nigerians when he meets with his opponents.
Well, anyone can come out, but the question is really about a fair chance and whether or not, the party would provide any form of support given what has happened today. But this summit also reviewed Mr. President's performance in critical sectors like the economy and security. From your perspective, especially coming from Rivers State, how would you rate the impact of federal policies on the states, especially in the South-South?
Well, you know that the most recent was the declaration of state of emergency, which was a decision that the president took in consultation with the National Assembly to stem the tide of threats about bumping of national assets, which would have blatantly created more crises for the economy. And then you also know that the president is doing everything possible to negotiate with the Ogoni people to resume oil production there in Ogoni. And then you also know that the stats also is clear that before the president came into office, our production capacity was less than 1 million. But today, according to the special advisor, national security advisor, he said that they have got up to 1.8 million barrels per day. So there are improvements. And then he also mentioned about the issue of green and red on the pipelines. And the pipelines are green because oil is flowing. And when they are red, it's usually when we have tumultuous situations, particularly when criminal elements who have been disorganized and destabilized, and those who are doing all the refineries that are not properly approved have been destroyed and taken out of the equation. So the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing their utmost best possible to put the economy together for Nigerians to have greater opportunities to achieve whatever aspirations they have in this country.
APC chieftain in Rivers State, Chibuke Ikenga, thank you for talking to us.
My pleasure always. Thank you.
Well, let's turn now to the national